Hi, this is Susan. I'm working on lights with trash plastic, as you can see, and I'm using coin lights this time. Now, I took you through using these kind of fairy lights and cutting these and using the battery pack to make your lamp electrified. So now I'm going to show you how to make ceiling lights with, today I'm doing trash plastic. I think it's just kind of fun. And I'm using these, this is really old and really cruddy looking. Some lights they were outside. I lost the cover. So I'm just using them. And funny, I'm using a deodorant and a toothpaste. And I want to show you some things I've figured out. Also, I wanted to explore these Christmas lights. When you see these little tiny lights, these are even smaller than this strand of Christmas lights. These are I think they're like a AA battery, 3-volt. And so that's like a AA battery pack that is now covered in tape. But see, these are even smaller than these lights. So I was looking, because it's the wide part right here. See at the base, it gets wide, and that keeps us from using them as well. So might have figured out a way to get rid of some of that width. So anyway, I just want to go into showing you these coin lights, and I found a really good source. Nice, friendly people on eBay for the heat shrink tubing. And I'm so happy to give you their information, because they sent me some samples to try, and I found them on eBay. Their Heat Shrink Buddy is their name. So just put in Heat Shrink Buddy on eBay and it'll come up, and we'll go through the sizes. They sent me this card with the sizes on it, and we'll go through what to use them for. And they are so nice. They give you this information on everything, and then they even say, if you have questions. And they were really nice in their messaging. So I just really want you to, show them the love, and go look them up, and we'll go over the sizes so you'll know what to order. But I also looked on Temu for these little coin. You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes they call them a button, and I couldn't find them. I looked for a couple of days on Temu, and I called them every different kind of thing. They call them coin, they call them button, and I could not find them. I don't know if they're, there some of the time, but I couldn't even find anything but the batteries. That's all I found. So on eBay, I put in the same thing, put in button or coin battery switch, and that's what I got. No problem. And they have lots of, you might get 5, you might get 2, you might get 5, you might get 10 or 12. So you just need to go look. But see, isn't that funny? I know you're thinking, that was the cap to her deodorant. And that's right, it was. I'm making ceiling lights. I don't know what I want. I'm making them for my Easter room box. So I had this metal, and I hadn't used it. And it was funny because I was looking at this lady's channel, the Dollhouse Dilemma. I believe is her channel. And she's in Great Britain. And she pulled out some metal trim that was in a circle. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have some metal trim. I just pulled it out. And I was thinking I needed to use it because I got it from Dollar Tree. I got a roll of it. It comes, in a roll like this. And it's over in the section that has like rocks and bags of rocks and wreaths and forms for making wreaths and ribbons and things in that section. So it's in the ribbons. So anyway, I've been putting these together, putting the coin together with my Christmas light strand. And I just wanted to make some trash plastic again. Lamps. These aren't going to be lamps. These are going to be, well, ceiling lamps. These are ceiling lights. So let me see what I can use to give you an example of, like that'll be on the ceiling. And it'll be the fainter pink when it's up there. So I'm just going to have to put a hole through the middle of the box and put it up there. So let me show you. I'm going to show you how I made these, but let me just show them to you. So this was the first one. Okay, it's not getting a good... if you're not getting good conduction with the coin, play around with it, because I'm just holding it stronger and it's doing well. So it's something to do with how the coin's fitting in the switch pack. So anyway, this was my first one, and I really kind of like this one. I keep leaning, and I painted it. Of course, you can see the white up here, but that's going to go in the ceiling if I choose this one. And this, funny enough, is this part of the deodorant. I had cut the one I had before. You see, this was that light. And it's so Barbie pink. It's just cute as it can be. And this I had cut off like right in here and thought it was an interesting shape, and I kept it. And I'll even show you what I did with the ball, or what I can do with it. Haven't done it yet. But you just never know. You never know where it's going to come from. Okay, this is Sensodyne. And this cap just pops off. And this is the most interesting cap. It can be a stool. But I'm going to show you how I made a ceiling light out of it. It's just so interesting. And I'm going to pay more for Sensodyne just so I can get the cap. So I took this metal that I have, and I want to get some more of this metal. Let me take this light out and stick it down in here just to show it to you, because I'm going to put this light together for you. But you can put this in different directions. You can make a lamp out of it. You could make an uplight, pole lamp, and a ceiling lamp. Ceiling light. So, really neat, huh? I think I hit the jackpot on these trash plastics with this trim. And so I was going to look for some more of this trim just for the fun of it. But they had two. Let me just show you the other that they had in case you're looking at Dollar Tree. And I think Hobby Lobby has some of this trim as well. And I'll have to go look and see what style they have. But I had bought this roll as well. And I thought this would be really pretty around a frame. Even, I think I might have put it around paint sticks, a frame that I made, and it had a sunflower in it, so I might have actually done that. And so around the outer edge of a frame was real pretty, but I'm going to use it to make a French bed. The canopy, needs the crown at the top, and so this will be so perfect for that, and have the drapes coming down. So anyway, that's in the future. And I got both of these metals at Dollar Tree, but I remember seeing Hobby Lobby had something. So what I did on this, I showed you the piece that was the inside, and I just used the Gorilla Super Glue. And first you glue the metal to, the circle, and you overlap. Right here it's overlapped. Leaf and leaf is overlapped and glued together. And I left it overnight, with the little pink clips. clipping that and let it dry, and then I glued it to this piece. And you'll have to cut like little circles to fit inside and then poke a hole through them. Inside where you want the light to just stick out, not too far because of the metal. And then one up here for the wiring to go through in that style. So it's all similar. Like this one has one of these up here at the top. I wish I could get into this and cut the round in here. This has got an interesting piece too. Now if you were making a lamp, you could also add like the little metal pieces and little, the ring. This came off Temu, these rings. Little jewelry finding. And this one, now, this one you have to keep the light from just moving all around in here. If you decide you like this one, you need something that's got a nozzle on it. Like this is a glue, and I think this one was off of a pancake syrup. You know, the flip top, because here's the other piece of it. So I think that was what it was. And so I just glued it in there so that the line will feed down into it and stay put in one place and, you know, and radiate light. So anyway, this is like really fun, just playing with these. So let me turn these off so I don't just waste power there. Oh, here's some other things. Let me just show you this one real quick. I found, well, this is my olive oil. So there's the lid. This is the ball that came out of the deodorant. Now, doesn't that look like some industrial kind of light if you painted this silver? It'd be up on the wall, or even a ceiling light, or even on a ship. Be some kind of cool light. You could cut this in half, but definitely poke a hole in it. Okay, the other thing is do this. This tubing came out of those squirt bottles, and you could put your line through this and put a hole in there, and you have a drop light to like put in a kitchen over a island or something like that. So this has a lot of cute uses. Now, if you've ever heard of a cake light, if this was all painted white or silver, you've got a cake light. So anyway, there's just endless, you know, you'll have fun playing with it. Whatever you just, you know, you come up with, you'll have fun. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to connect this light, which I cut off of this pack of Christmas, well, white lights, and how to connect it to the coin. So the first thing, when you get the coins, they just have enough of the silver sticking out that's been to be soldered, and I don't have any flux, so I haven't gotten to play with soldering. And so I'm just twisting, and also I don't know what I'm going to use. You know, for something I don't use, I might want to just have the battery pack and not have to buy more. So for me, I'm just doing it this way, using the shrink tubing. And I'm not even going to shrink it at this point. Okay, I'm trying to find my tubing where I put it on. Okay, so on the smaller side, you put the tubing, cut some pieces. You can barely see it because it's really all the same color. But see, I have tubing right there. Just I already put it on so that when I twist these wires, I can just pull that tubing over what I did, my work. Just like when I did the lamps with the fairy light battery pack. The same thing, if you saw that. So this one is, the size of this one is the 1 millimeter tubing. Right there, you can see that's 1 millimeter. And that's what fits over the coin lights, and I've got it on each side. So the first thing I need to do is make sure that I connect the right, the coin goes in, let me tell you. So you know, the coin is supposed to go in with the smooth top looking at you. And the inset bumply part is underneath. And it's got 2 pieces of brass touching each side of it. And so you need to see how you connect these so that you connect the positive to the positive, the negative to the negative. And if you don't get them right, then you have to reverse the battery, but it'll flicker more. So it's better to get it correct. And so if you'll turn the switch on, separate your lines, you can touch this one to this one, and this one to this one, and the light did not go on. So I'm going to reverse this and touch this one to this one, this one to this one. Let's see. Let me see if do I have it on. Let's see. Well, it was working a minute ago. Maybe I don't have it on. Okay, let's try it again. Let's see, I marked them, so I know that. Let me see, I marked black on each one, so I'd get them. Okay, there we go. So when you get the light to shine, just touching, holding them down to your table, then you want to take your Sharpie, you know, and just mark each side of the line. Don't mark it where the tubing, you know, is going to cover it up. The tubing's right there, so mark far enough up. Because you're going to put your tubing on before you wrap the wires. So turn it back off, and we'll go ahead and wrap our wires together where I've marked them, black and black. And it doesn't matter, you know, which, as long as you just, doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, just as long as it's one side. So it's just so simple to make these electrified lamps, and so much fun. I'm just enjoying this a lot. When I have the time, I've got to try to finish working out the electrical in my dollhouse, and then I'll have so much fun loading that back up. Okay, so now you see I'm putting the tubing over my work, and it's as simple as that. I just twisted, you know, these to these. And let me show you the best way to cut these I just played with different ways to cut. And I was trying to go around it with my flush cutters or my jewelry wire cutters. Okay, so there it is. And then stick it with it. I made this hole in this one big enough for this white thing, so you can see what it's going to look like as a ceiling light. Like, it doesn't have, the light doesn't radiate, it'll come down. So that's why I said I didn't know which one I was really going to want to use, because it's, I mean, if the light wasn't on in here, you'd see the light better. But I really like how cute this is. And I even found something else that was kind of interesting. There was another piece. Let's see, where did it end up? That went, okay, here it is. This fit up in here, so like gave like a contour look to it, but it was kind of yellowed. But it had a white front. But you never know what's going to fit together, and then you paint it and change it all up in colors, and it looks really cool. So now see, this is flickering. When it's doing that, I'm thinking it's you'll check the connections good and tight. You know, if you decided to shrink this, you want to have 2 to 1. It's like 1 is when you shrink it, how small it is, and 2 is the size you're buying. And so it's going to shrink half the size. So if you buy a 2 millimeter, it's going to shrink down to a 1 millimeter. So I'm using a 1 millimeter because I'm not shrinking. And I showed you this product, this liquid electrical tape. And this is really toxic smell. So I want to have the fan on, have, the window open or whatever, or take it outside. But when you put the tubing over it, you can put this electrical, it's liquid. You can put this on each side and it'll seal it up. It seals your work. But like I said, I don't know what I'm going to use, and I just don't want to keep making these and then not using them and putting them into, waste the batteries. So speaking of batteries, now of course they have packs of batteries. They do have them on Temu, they do have them on eBay, but now they're carrying them at Dollar Tree. And so I needed them real quick, so I got a 2-pack for $1.25. So I'm not really sure how cost effective that is. I'll have to kind of match it all up. But the size of these are this. For the coin, the coins do come in different sizes, but the standard is CR2032. CR2032. And so if you're in town, you just need to get something, quickly, you could, or, run to one of the dollar stores. And if you want to probably get it at a better price, then, maybe Temu or eBay. But don't forget, for the shrink tubing, this is Heat Shrink Buddy on eBay. And I just think they're really nice people to send me samples to show you. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay, so there's a 0.6 millimeter is the smallest that they carry. And you can see it is really small. Well, let's see if I can pull them out. Okay, let's look at it this way. So see how, well, no, you can't see it with my hand in the way. So we'll have to pull it out. They taped it in. They were just so nice. And sent me the information sheet on it. And they were really good about communicating. Okay, so you see that's just so small that actually I can't even, I don't even know if it would fit just wires. Maybe just wires going through it. So I wouldn't use the 0.6. Now the 0.8, if you had separate wires and they just needed to be covered, sheathed or something, then this 0.8 would be for, each set of wires going through it. I've done a few different things so far, these things and a few more, and I keep using this 1 millimeter to cover my work. Now this doesn't give a lot of room for shrinkage, but it's just the right size for covering your twist wires, and it's between this 1 millimeter and the 1.5. And then the 1.5, you'd be able to shrink. The 1 millimeter is covering my work without it moving. So it's not really got a lot of room to shrink. So the 1.5 would give you room to shrink. And now if you're doing heavier, if you're doing something a little thicker, they have a 2. This, let me show you the difference in this. Gosh, they were so nice to tape all this up and make it clear. Okay, so this is a 1.5, and this one up here is a 2. So it would shrink down, you know, if it's a 2, it'd shrink to a 1 millimeter. So that would be good. So any of these 3 is good. 1 millimeter, 1.5. This is what I'm using to cover my work and not shrink it. This would be good to shrink it, 1.5, or the 2 to shrink over any of your twisting work or your soldering. And so they, you know, they say if you have any questions, please contact us, you know, through messaging. So they give you all this information and why you're ordering this, how the diameter works. And so if you have to ask them any questions, just tell them what you're using it for, and be sure you tell them it's Dollhouse Miniatures, because that's how I wrote to them and asked them, you know, to help me choose my size. And then they sent me the sample because I told them I was going to be showing it. And so they're just really nice people. They'll be helpful. Okay, so I wanted to show you this. Now, you've seen these little lights, but they have the width here that kind of keeps them from going through tubes. And I wanted to show you, I cut that open because this light is smaller. You know, I showed you that it's smaller than this other one. So I've misplaced this. I had a whole strand of this too, and I don't know where I misplaced it. Anyway, so the line comes up, goes into, they soldered it on the sides, and it comes out to go jump to the next light, just the same way that this one is, you know, in a strand. So basically, we don't need these extras because we've already cut that away. So now you've got a little less width there, but what causes the width is this separator. You can't get past needing something to separate your positive from your negative. Well, this is where I started thinking about my heat shrink buddy tubing. Is if it goes over, if I can cut this open, pull this out, this separator, I wondered if this would work to put this tubing over it. And then that would separate the lines. Now, when they flicker, that's one of the things you want to look for, is if anything you've made, if it's in contact, now it's catching on the extra wire there that went out to the next light. Okay, so you have to work it a little bit. So you want to make sure because we know if we're using like metal bead findings, make sure that your light work is not touching any of that, you know, openly touching any of the metal. Because if you remember when I was doing the first light video, my light worked and then it didn't work. The gooseneck light that I had, well, it didn't work. And I was like, it worked. What's the deal? Well, that's what was happening. Once I went in and realized, I put glue around it to keep it in the center so that it wouldn't touch the sides of the metal bead. And then it worked from then on. So let's see if this works. Let's see. Because see, I put it over there. Now I would shrink this. I would try to shrink this to make sure it stayed put. See, they soldered this. So it's like already soldered for us. So that would, well, let's see. It would bring it down to, let's see, comparing. It would bring it down to a little bit smaller than this one that's going into these. It's a little bit smaller. Not dramatically smaller. I don't know if it would go into, where's my tubing? I got some tubing off of Temu. So I got this size. This was a little bigger than what I had, that 3/32 that I was using. So it would definitely go into the tubing. This is probably 2 millimeter. This might be like 3 millimeter. So let's, no, I don't have the piece cut small. I don't want to cut it just to, because it's brass. Well, I'm not sure it's going to go in the 2mm. But it will go in the 3mm. And it'll fit to the top. So if you're going to use Christmas lights and you're ordering the brass, this is probably 2mm. Let me see where my ruler is. Everything, you know, is going to be in the millimeters. So, well, this is 1, 2. It's a little bit over the 2. I don't know if they consider it 2. It's maybe 2.5. Seems like it's just slightly over the 2. So that might be 2.5. This might be considered 2.5. And then this one is, let's see. Maybe it'd help if I had my glasses on. This is 3, at least 3. So 2.5 and 3mm. So if you want to order them from Temu, you know, it's brass tubing. This is 2.5, this is 3. And then it goes on up. And they send it, you know, just in a little packet. Now, what I was using those fairy lights, I was using even smaller. This is 3/32. I got this at Hobby Lobby years ago. I don't know if they still have it. But you can go back and look at the fairy light video, and there's a lot about the lighting per se. But anyway, so my thought was that this should light the same way that this is lighting. But I need a battery in here. So let's see if I can get this battery out real quick. And I hope you'll get your trash plastic out and make a ceiling light. Because it just cracks me up that I made it from a deodorant and a toothpaste. And of course, you know, there's all these different shapes. Now I want to go to this like Dollar Tree and see they have like medicine bottles and stuff. And I just want to go find like something that's curved, like a dome like this is, because that had turned out so interesting. Wow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this out. It's like they do not want you to get this out easily. I'm going to have to cut all around it. Look at this. To separate, it's got 2 pieces of plastic. But the good news is I'm sure I can use the plastic pieces for like a little dish or something. Okay, let's see if we can get this out of here. Wow. Okay, still working at it. Okay. Ooh, look at this. We have a dog bowl right there. Look at that little dog bowl. Got a little lip around it. Okay. And we have a little tray for something, for vanity or something. Okay, so let me put this one in here. Again, you have to have the shiny bigger side up. Slip it. Kind of up underneath. You want one side of the brass on the bottom and then one side of the brass touching the top. And that's not wanting to go flat. Kind of gapped. Like it's not laying flat. And I already, well, it's got some kind of, I don't know. Let's just close it and see if it works. Okay, so let's turn it on. I don't know if it's on or not. It is. It works. So we can use our shrink tubing. And that was the 1 millimeter that I covered their work where they soldered. And all I'm going to do is twist this and put some more tubing over where I connect the green to the coin. And that's a bright one. That's quite a bright light. So I think right now I'm going to mark that wall that I've got the right side to the right side, so that when I do that permanently. So I'll try that through the tubing because I want to do some standing lamps. That's probably the next little lamp thing I'll do. And so I might try using this. That was very bright. So there you go. If you have any of these old Christmas lights, you'll be able to use them. So I think I've covered everything. Let me just turn these on again so we can look at the fun color stuff, how they turned out. This one keeps flickering. I've already taken it apart once. I think that's something to do with the coin. So you'll have to tune back in for the Easter room box. Has the frame where I made it with the frame. So check back with me and look and see what that turned out to look like. I'll tell you, it's real pretty. So check back. Thanks for stopping by. And please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm trying to grow my channel, so thanks so much. Bye.